And I would too,
Just a moment, Willis. So, Ms. Gross, I don't know if you want to speak with Ms. Willis now. It's sounding like maybe they're withdrawing the objection to the motion.
I believe the motion to,
Or does Ms. Willis want to take the lead here?
we'll withdraw the motion to quash this based on the rule.
Okay, so the position of the district attorney at this point is that she's no longer contesting the subpoena. Ms. Merchant is called as the next witness.
Day 46 of the trial. Jeffery Williams, aka Young Thug.
Does anyone have the three filings of Ms. Merchant? Does the court have the three filings of Ms. Merchant?
You said the filings, the pleadings.
The pleadings, yes, Your Honor.
I know.
I can locate those for you.
I want the one filed on January the 8th, the one filed immediately after we filed ours, and the final one.
If you want to take a break to get them, I can make a copy. I think we have one.
All right, we're back on the record. Deputy Scott, if you could swear in our next witness.
And I do apologize. Anna. District Attorney Fani, F-A-N-I, last name is Willis.
Ms. Willis, how did you know to come into the courtroom like that?
There were people I was pacing in my office.
Okay.
And I heard someone yell, "His testimony is done." It only made sense to me that I would be your next witness. And I've been very anxious to have this conversation with you today. So I ran to the courtroom.
So as soon as you heard that Mr. Wade was done testifying, that's when you just assumed you would be the next witness?
It only makes sense.
Did you listen to any of the testimony?
I've been in my office pacing, ma'am.
Did you listen to any of the arguments?
I did hear the arguments this morning. It's ridiculous to me that you lied on Monday, and yet here we still are. And I did listen to that argument.
All right, so that was it, just the argument, no testimony.
Right, I listened to the argument this morning where Adam Abadi, I thought, did an excellent job pointing out how dishonest you were with the court on Monday. And I'm actually surprised that the hearing continued. But since it did, here I am.
Great. So let's just talk about what you did in preparation for today. Did you meet with Mr. Wade at all? Once the motion was filed, did you meet with Mr. Wade and talk to him about the motion that I filed to disqualify you?
On this first January motion?
Yes.
I don't know if you could say talked about. I probably had some choice words about some of the things that you said that were dishonest within this motion. So I don't know that it was a conversation. As you know, Mr. Wade is a Southern gentleman. Me, not so much.
Okay, but my question was, did you have a conversation with
I didn't
him?
have a substantive conversation.
You did not?
I read this motion, skimmed it more so, and I've probably said some choice things to him about some of the lies that were told.
Okay.
And been printed in the media because, we used to be in a day and time where you had 60 minutes.
Hello, sis. How you doing, sis? Happy Wednesday to you.
But it seems today that a lawyer writes a lie and then it's printed for all of
You're watching
Well, I just want to make sure that you
Jeffery Williams trial, aka Young Thug.
I told you what happened. I read the motion. I am sure I told him what
Make sure that's the right one, though. No, if that's the wrong one, hold on. Oh, okay. Thank you, sis, for letting me know you can't hear I had the mute on. But this is day 46, Jeffrey Williams trial. And I guess they talking something out. They got the mute off. So we at well, they got the mute on. Well, they got the mute on. So this the first day, 46th day of the trial. And so, but I'm gonna read some of the comments that are being said. They said, Quinn about to hit the stand looking like Ice-T from New Jack City, Nashville, boom, boom. This is the most foolish case over. It kind of remind me debate. This is going so fast. Left my butt all 12. It's in the chat, y'all. Almost it says sons that shouldn't go together. Almost an hour late. Accused dispute. You've been paying attention. This trial is a huge waste of time. Free Young Thug wasn't this surprise to start at 1. Clearly getting the storyline together. Jennifer Caldwell, what is there to do in SC? I heard the judge say be here at 9:30. So just stuff that they're saying. Yes, it's New Jack City. Memphis, Tennessee. Due to 10-7, right, laugh out loud. 3 p.m. start. Laugh out loud. You think been watching. They're going chat going so fast. He did not say at 9:30 start to be here at 9. So they're just talking about the time now. If you ever get this, just get a plea deal. Just get a plea deal. I thought he told them to be at 9:30. I'm from Cali. Fully Beach. Been definitely in the chat, but he don't remember. How hard is it to start on time? The comfort trial, day 46. At least the people are early. they is clowning them. Just talk to be said. He gonna call back. He high right now, and he needs some water. that's the that's the One of the defendants said that yesterday. Let's take a poll. How many are judging with something? This case has been styled for some reason. Make it make sense. I thought that was in very excess for a minute. If you had been on stand, I sure would be in here under the fake page looking at everything. That jury might be running late. What everyone's saying so far? 1 for guilty, 2 for not guilty. Come on, man. Start already. No trial until Monday. You kidding? Not get on Rico, but I don't know how he gonna beat the drug and gun charges from when he was arrested. If Mr. I don't recall anything coming back on the stand. We all waiting for the candy store to open. What is his sister? They cutting up. Yeah, they cutting up in this chat, sis. They cutting up. We're waiting for not being again. We love it here. Did the jury get the job? Not guilty. Why are they deleting comments? Why are they deleting numbers? Really, they muting people posting 1 or 2. Let me.
Join us March 24th for National Cheesesteak Day and get a small cheesesteak for only $4.99 with promo code Philly.
Listen up, y'all. They're living in our hotel.
I'm still trying to get it. The like law don't want to play. All right, here we go. Again, Jeffery Williams, aka Young Thug trial, Rico trial. There go one of the co-defendants right there. There goes number 2 co-defendants right there. There go the 3rd defendant right there, and the 4th one behind him. Like he young than all of them. And the host, Young Thug. The host of the show, Young Thug. Real name Jeffery Williams. Like he the youngest of the bunch right there. They brought him some snacks to eat. Yeah, that go to another co-offender. All the co-offenders all over the court.
Council's interested parties, we're back on the record in the matter of the state of Georgia versus Cleve Adams et al. And 22 SC 183572. Mr. Stillwell, Mr. Boston, Mr. Sharp, good afternoon, gentlemen. All right, Mr. Williams, Mr. Steele, Mr. Adams, and Ms. Renard, good afternoon. All right, Mr. Kendrick and Mr. App, good afternoon. All right, Mr. Ewing, Mr. Matthews Jr. and Sr., good afternoon. All right, Mr. Nichols, Ms. Westmoreland, Mr. Harvey, good afternoon. Mr. Ryan and Ms. T. Williams, good afternoon. All right. Okay, Mr. Smith, Ms. Hilton, Mr. Atkins, and Ms. Wood, good afternoon. All right. All right, Debbie Hammer, all yours present? Yes, sir. Okay, all right. Anything I need to take up before we call our next witness?
Your Honor, just wanted to know if the defense had an opportunity to look at the transcript and if they had any.
Transcript of what, madam?
The transcript that we provided yesterday for the jail call that was played, 175C.
All right. Counsels, anybody wish to be heard on this? Ms. Hilton, you want to repeat your statement?
Sure. Yesterday, the state provided transcriptions of the jail call, State's Exhibit 175C, and wanted to know if the defense counsel had an opportunity to review that transcript, and if so, if they had any edits, or if they did not have any edits.
We talking about the jail call that was actually played yesterday.
Within the context of the interview between Mr. Bean and Detective Quinn.
Correct. Because
because you all hadn't had an opportunity to take a look at that transcript yesterday, we just played the tape. What the state's asking to do today, I assume, is to go ahead and potentially play that again or play it and provide a transcript. And I would give an admonition at that point in time.
Now, he had like that lawyer, like he lost.
Well, I'll speak for Mr. Williams' team. I think I may speak for everyone else. We haven't reviewed it.
Well, that's a you problem.
Well,
because you had it since yesterday. I didn't play it yesterday. I didn't provide them the transcript yesterday because you didn't have time to review it.
we played the tape. We played the recording.
Yeah.
And I think the court's position was, recordings here. Sure, we haven't had an opportunity to review it, but we played the recording. So
okay.
I don't think there was any indication on our position. On our part, we need to readdress the issue of the transcript.
All right. Let me hear from this. Let me hear from the state on that particular issue.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe the court was going to either do one or two alternatives. The first alternative was to give 35 minutes or 30 minutes. I believe that was the request in order for defense counsel to review the transcript. And the alternative, we made a decision to play it without the transcript, with the thought that defense counsel would review it, because we do intend on using that call again and playing that call again. That's something that may or may not be addressed today, depending on how far we get with Detective Quinn. So it's something that could come up by Friday, but we would like defense counsel to review it. And if they have any edits, let us know, because the state would be intending to use that transcript.
Okay. Mr. Adams, anything further?
We'll go ahead and we'll review it.
Okay.
I think we have to state that it probably won't be an issue today. I don't stay on Friday case, but I think, I would say this, I think that our understanding, best understanding, was that, the court was gonna go ahead and create the, set the court in place, so there was not really a need, for us to review a transcript that was going to be used.
Yeah, and you're right, sir. And I think that the state's telling you they're going to potentially ask the court to go ahead and consider the transcript. They're asking you all to review it for accuracy and edits. And of course, I'll accept any other objections at that point in time. And if I should decide to give or play the tape with a transcript as an aid, I'll give the applicable Uniform Superior Court rule tape and transcript instruction or admonition. Okay.
We'll go ahead and we'll review that.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Nothing else.
All right. Let's summon our jurors, please.
This procedure, call the that we're having all sorts of activities, which affects our ability to look up the case law.
You got your own hotspot? I take it from that.
I've always had trouble with my own hotspot.
I would just suggest that redundancy is always a good thing. I don't know how the public Wi-Fi here is in the courthouse, but we have added a hotspot for you all's use only.
And that's been working until today, at least in my experience.
Well,
Something's happened today that it's gone down.
I can't tell you why. I can only make a phone call and I can maybe inquire about that. So, Mr. Kearns, can you call Ms. Omana and Dependency and see if we can check on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Mr. Steele? Was that it, Mr. Sharp?
Yes, Sean.
Okay.
I don't know the context, so I'll just ask the court since it came up. Sorry. I said I don't apologize. I don't know the context, so I don't know the objection to be made. But replaying a recording that has been played already would, in my opinion, be cumulative, and none of the speakers are here. But again, I don't know why that would come up.
Yeah, let's see what the state offers it for, and I think that's a little premature at this point in time.
I was just answering because I heard you say any other objections. So.
Oh, that's at the time that you all have have an opportunity to take a look at the transcript. But if the tape's played, depending upon the foundation, depending upon what it's issued for, I'll make a determination at that point.
And then can we just approach for about 40 seconds on a matter?
Okay. Are they good, Cam? Okay, all right. Well, just tell them to get ready, okay? All right.
So they mute up. They having difficulties, and they will come back soon. They tucking on the sideline. No, I'm going. Mute.
All rise for the jury.
All right, thank you, Deputy Ham. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Members of the jury, good afternoon. All right, sound good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, we're going to continue with the presentation of the state's case. So, ladies and sirs, I'll call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls retired Detective David Quinn.
All right, summon Detective Quinn, please. All right, Detective Quinn, good afternoon, sir. Afternoon. All right, come on up to the witness stand, sir. And before you sit down, if you would be so kind and turn and face us, Deputy Ham, be sworn as a witness.
I do. David Quinn, DAVID QUINN.
And good afternoon.
That's Detective.
I'm retired.
What are you retired from?
The Atlanta Police Department.
And how long have you been retired from the Atlanta Police Department?
Fully since 2019.
Okay. And when you say fully, what does that mean?
So I joined the Atlanta Police Department in 1985 when I was 20 years old. And I stayed until 2019, so I did 33 years and some change. After that, I got into the true crime TV business, which is what I do now.
And tell the jury a little bit about your time with the Atlanta Police Department over those 33 years.
Again, I hit the street when I was about 21 years old, 1986, after having been hired at 20. And I went straight to Zone 3. I don't know, Zone 3 was back in those days, Southeast, Southwest Atlanta. I stayed there 10 years in probably the highest crime district in the city at that time. After those 10 years, I don't know why, somebody sent me to Bankhead, and I went to the Zone 1 precinct, and I worked there for another 5. In my 15th year, after working those high crime areas, somebody promoted me to detective, and they sent me straight to homicide, which sent me right back to those same neighborhoods in Zone 3 and Zone 1. It's like going home. So.
And let's talk about your 10 years being in Zone 3. Did you have the occasion to patrol the entire Zone 3, or were you assigned to a particular section of Zone 3?
Well, I was assigned Zone 3 A sector, which was that area around the Daniel Glenn Housing Project, the Pittsburgh Civic League Apartments, Pryor Road. But there was a lot of bleed over. In other words, I wouldn't just work one specific area in downtown Atlanta. I would also branch out as far as Gilbert Road, which is at the county line, to Clayton County. So it was the busiest precinct at the time. So you kind of scattered all over.
Okay. And you said it briefly, as a homicide detective, did you unfortunately have the occasion to investigate homicides within the Zone 3 neighborhood?
Absolutely, every month, usually.
And based on your time in Zone 3, if you could describe the Zone 3 community for this jury.
Zone 3 in community, from the time that I worked in the mid 80s, all the way until I was an old man in the mid 2000s. It's a rough, busy neighborhood, but there are pockets of diversity everywhere. You may have truck drivers, you have doctors, lawyers, but you also have the quote unquote marginalized communities are also in Zone 3. So it's a mix. It's not one thing.
And based on your interaction of having different type of community members within Zone 3, how would you describe the residents of Zone 3?
The who?
The residents.
The residents are hardworking people. I grew up out there with them. I feel like, I am Zone 3 because I saw so many different generations get raised up out there. And I feel like I was only 12, I was a boy. When I left, I was a grandfather. So that was my life.
Now, I'm going to take you back to your time as a detective in the homicide unit. If you could tell the jury, what were your primary job duties and responsibilities?
When I went to homicide, I learned quickly that my responsibility was to investigate crimes that involve deaths at the hands of other humans. I worked murder. That's primarily what I worked. I worked with about 18 other detectives, and we were in a rotation. Whereas you would catch a homicide, respond to it. You'd have about a month to work that case up. And once you work that case up, you would go down to the bottom of that homicide list. But they were giving us the responsibility to actually handle cases that involve special investigations. In particular, police officers' use of force, shooting people, anyone that dies in custody. We handle those investigations. Sometimes we even handle corruption investigations on the department if in fact there was some kind of conflict in internal affairs.
So speaking specifically about having to do those special investigations, specifically the officer-involved investigations, what were your job duties and responsibilities for those type of investigations?
Well, I had to investigate whether or not an officer had the legal authority to use his gun in a deadly way. I investigated deadly force.
And to your knowledge, is that responsibility of investigating officer-involved shootings still the responsibility of the homicide unit?
When I was on the way out, it changed gears. They decided to let the Georgia Bureau of Investigation handle those shootings. I guess they didn't want the actual agency to investigate itself.
I want to say something. Objection. I will objection.
When you are assigned as when you are assigned an officer-involved shooting, if there is an underlying crime that occurred before the officer-involved shooting, do you investigate both the underlying crime and the officer-involved shooting, or are those two separate investigations?
No, you have to work both. You've got to understand the reason why the officer was there in the first place, why he pulled his gun, why he used deadly force. Sometimes
this detective that you heard on tape,
physical force. So
talking to Mr. Bruner.
Well.
Now, in your experience as an investigator, do all investigators investigate cases the same way?
Oh no, it's just like any other walk of life. I mean, everyone has their own style, and usually your style comes from how you carry yourself in the street and your experience out there with the citizens. In this case, the citizens of Fulton County, City of Atlanta.
Tell us a little bit about your investigative style.
Everybody calls me old school.
How old will the objection, Mr. Steele?
I am Atlanta, and I feel like every case I work is a story, and I've got to report back, the information from that story. I always say when I work my investigations, I want to have on a belt and suspenders. I want to make sure I got everything. And sometimes, commanders and supervisors don't like that. I mean, I take my time slow and methodical with how I work my cases. I don't move very fast.
Faces. I overrule the objection, Mr. Sharp.
Thank you.
You could say.
That's pretty much it. I just try to keep, you don't get all the answers when you work in investigations like they do on TV. But what you do is you try to get as much as you can, and you miss things. I miss things on every investigation. And so you have to take your time to make sure you have it right.
When you're conducting an investigation, generally, what type of evidence are you looking for, say for your homicide cases? What type of evidence do you want, are you trying to gather as a part of your investigation?
I mean, first and foremost, I want eyewitnesses. I want humans to give information that could lead to some kind of inroads in closing this case. as I got older in the department, technology became a useful tool. We've always had fingerprints, human fingerprints. DNA became a really big deal around 2002. I've watched everything change, but I always, with any kind of testimony that I receive from a witness, I want to get something to back it up, something tangible that'll vouch for this person that's an eyewitness seeing something. I really like eyewitness evidence. A lot of people don't, but I do, because the community, that is the witness.
Now, in your time as a homicide detective, have you had the occasion to interview suspects?
Absolutely.
And tell the jury a little bit about your interview style.
I try to keep my interviews.
Overruled, Mr. Sharp. Have a seat.
I try to have conversations. I mean, from these conversations, I try to have them make sense. You know, I don't want it to be overbearing. Sometimes those conversations, those interviews can get heated, but you want to build some kind of rapport with the person, whether it be a witness or a suspect, and make sure you're getting good information.
You have an objection, Mr. Steele? What's the basis? All right, come on.
Okay, they're back at the bar. They got the prosecution and all 6 lawyers up there.
Now, proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this, Detective Quinn. Over the course of your 30 years, how many people have you interviewed? Just roughly.
I mean, thousands. I mean, I can't put a number on that.
And you talked a few moments ago about building rapport. Tell us, why is it important to build rapport?
You don't want your interview to be adversarial. You want people to be calm and give you truthful testimony that you can verify later.
Mr. Steele, you gotta pose an objection, and then you gotta tell me that selling your honor doesn't let Ms. Weaver know who you are. So please go ahead and objection and tell me your basis.
I have a motion. I have a motion.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can I get you to step into your headquarters for just a second? Detective, can I get you to step outside for a minute? All right, ladies and gentlemen, our jury has left us and our witness is off the stand. Yes, Mr. Steele, what's your motion?
Your Honor, I tried to preempt it at the bench. It's exactly what I asked. And I'll wait for Ms. Weaver if the court needs it for the exact quote. But Detective Quinn just said, upon questioning the district attorney, why is it important to develop a rapport with a witness? And the answer was something to the effect of, to get truthful information. No witness can talk about veracity or truthfulness or believability of anybody. That's what I tried to say at the bench. That's the entirety of this testimony so far.
Hey, Brother Joshua, how you doing? How you doing again? I hope you're having a blessed
The
afternoon.
only witness that puts Mr. Williams involved in this
As
event.
you were still watching Young Thug, real name, Jeffery Williams. That's his real name.
And I was at the bench and you did not want to hear from me more than you did. You told me to step back, but Your Honor, I've been doing this too. I anticipated it wasn't that hard to do.
That's we are watching Young Thug trial.
All right, Ms. Holden?
Well, Young Thug Rico trial.
And
Have a seat, Mr. Sharp. Let her finish, okay? All right, remember the Harvey rule is still in effect, so have a seat.
Your Honor, as it relates to Detective Quinn's response, he did not talk about a specific witness, truthfulness, or veracity. He said, in general, what I'm trying to do is to find the truth. And that is what you do in an interview. You're determining whether or not what the person who's speaking to you is credible, if they're providing credible information. Your Honor, even in this case, when you listen to the interview that has already been admitted,
that's good, Joshua.
Detective Quinn already told Agent Ben, I don't think you're being fully honest. So he's not talking about the veracity of any one witness. He hasn't even talked about any witnesses yet. So for defense counsel to deem or ask for a mistrial at this juncture, given this testimony, we're going to ask you to deny.
All right, I'm going to deny the motion. Some of our jurors, please. It's noted. I'll make it. Yes, and I'll preserve it. It'll be continued. Mr. Sharp, if you ask me that one more time, okay? No, I didn't. Listen. Everybody gets the same objection, okay? Unless there's something else.
If you could do if you want to take it again.
Your Honor, previously you informed all defense counsel that motions for mistrial were not subject to the Harvey rule.
No, I didn't.
That's why I'm doing this.
No, I
If you
didn't.
tell me that we are motions for mistrial are now subject to the Harvey rule, and that's on the record.
I don't recall my saying that they were not, so.
Respectfully, I recall that, but I will just rely on the Harvey rule from now on, if that's clear.
I'll assume it for everybody then, unless you.
Joshua, if you don't mind, can you thumb me up? If you don't mind.
Prior arguments that were made for motion to mistrial. My understanding from the court's ruling today is that it applies to all of this. Yes. All right, summarize yours, please, sir.
Young cost a dime to thumb up.
I don't want you touching my microphone because that's the exclusive purview of Miss Weaver. Okay? So.
I think there's a little bit.
It's okay with her, then you have carte blanche. But short of that, leave it alone.
Your Honor.
Sir.
Did the court consider my previous request for a continuing objection now in the same bolstering?
Yes.
Irrelevant?
Well, I'll just give you a continuous objection, okay? At this point.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Ham. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. All right, you may continue your examination, madam.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Flynn, in your interviews with citizens or with suspects, or residents of the community, do you curse or use language that some may deem offensive?
I would think, yeah, my mother in particular.
And is that just your style of talk and speech?
Yeah, I mean, it's just how I talk. And I think it's more like the vernacular of the area that I worked in all those years.
I'm going to direct your attention to September 11, 2013. Were you assigned to the homicide unit?
I was.
And did you have the occasion to respond to 2745 Old Hateville Road, Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County?
I did.
And did you arrive with other officers?
I did.
Do you recall now who you arrived with?
Well, I was riding alone, but other homicide detectives went to the scene. You had Detective Vince Velasquez, who was my longtime partner. You had Detective Summer Beck, my suit. Is that me? You had a contingent of other support staff. What's going on? ringing in my ear big time. I don't know what it is.
Hopefully it should finish.
Okay. I'm pretty loud. I don't think I need it.
About what time did you arrive at that location?
About 12:30 in the afternoon.
And what was the temperature and weather like that day?
It was hot. From what I remember, I mean, it's Georgia afternoon, so I know it was a little warm out.
And why did you respond to that location?
Well, I got a call because I was told by dispatch that an officer discharged his weapon and I need to get to that scene.
And while you were responding to 2745 on Beacon Road, did you know that there were other areas that were active scenes at that time?
Absolutely.
How many other active scenes were
It was about 3. You could almost say 4, but 3 that were going to be necessary for that investigation. They were going to have to be processed.
there? What were those?
So you had 2745 O'Hayville Road, which is the Summerdale Commons Apartments. There was, what I was told at the time, that's where the incident occurred where the officer discharged his weapon. Then you had a house directly across the street from there where there was damage to a residential home right there on O'Hayville Road. And then you had a third scene, which was 126 Cleveland Avenue, which the Cleveland Coin Laundry, a car had crashed into it. So I had a bunch of scenes going.
And roughly, how far were each of those scenes from each other?
They were within about 75 yards. If you just do the whole perimeter, it's kind of disjointed, but they were all kind of right there.
You may. You shown that document to defense counsel, correct? Okay.
Marcus State Exhibit 158C. Do you recognize the one with the
This looks like the area I just described, roughly, yeah.
and is that a fair application of an overview of that area to kind of describe where you respond to your September 11th?
I would say so.
Around this time, state representative, Mr. 158C.
Any objection to the state's 158 charter? Anyone? All right. Today's 158 charter is admitted and may be published as you see fit.
Information.
Yes, ma'am.
And looking at this with the 158, roughly, and you can either do one of two things, you do old school, like say old school and point, or you can use that computer. I'll let you decide.
Okay, I think I'll do the finger action over there.
Okay, so if you can click to the left, it should pop open to the bottom. Just tap the screen. All right.
Wow.
You have a pen over there? To the left.
Yeah.
That should give you a pen. Can you circle on there? Do you see where it says Summerdale Commons? Or Summerdale Parks? Commons first.
And then Summerdale Apartments.
And on here where it says the Skyline Laundromat.
Okay. Are those the three roughly 3 years that you just kind of described for those 3 active scenes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Describe to the jury what was seeing the light.
It was like opening day at Six Flags. It was crazy. I mean, it was fire engines, police officers, blue lights going. Everybody talking to me at one time, you know, which I'm used to, but this was a really big scene. It was really active.
And once you got there, what did you find? What did you observe? What you responded to the process?
When I got there, I wanted to speak to my supervisor and just try to figure out what was I dealing with here. Give me an overview. The first place I pulled up to was 126 Cleveland Avenue.
And 126 Cleveland, what location was that?
That was the Coin Laundry.
And when you said you spoke to your sergeant, who was there at the time?
That was Sergeant Leanne Lacoste.
And was she able to provide any information?
She gave me an overview of what was going on and indicated where I needed to go next.
And did you follow her instructions?
I did.
After speaking with Sergeant Lacoste, did you ask any homicide detectives to assist you with taking control of any of this?
I asked 2.
Okay, who were those 2?
I asked Detective Vince Velasquez to actually go up to 2745 Old Hayfield Road at Summerdale Commons and work that scene, whatever it may be. I then asked Detective Summer Benton if she could handle the 126 Cleveland Avenue. I mean, we had a car that had crashed into a building. I wanted to handle anything related to that evidence.
And did you yourself know anything, any evidence you got at 2745 Old Hayfield Road or 126 Cleveland Avenue?
Well, when I went to 2745, there were shell casings all over the ground. I don't remember how many it was at the time. Clearly evidence of the shooting. There was a disabled front gate, this really nice mechanical gate that been destroyed. And it looked like fresh damage. And I wanted Detective Velasquez to take his time and go through that and report back whatever his findings were.
And was he able to do that?
He was.
Now, while you were on scene, were you made aware of any individuals that was detained?
I was.
How many people were detained?
3.
And who were those individuals?
I was told that it was a Frederick Prothrow, Walter Murphy, and Adrian Bean.
Out of those individuals,
Adrian Bean.
I found out that Frederick Prothrow had a serious gunshot wound to the back, which changed my thinking. I mean, we had someone who was actually struck. So a lot of my energy went to that. I also found out that it was Walter Murphy had gunshot wounds to the legs, They had both been transported to Grady Hospital for treatment.
To your knowledge, you know, AFB had an injury.
I heard he had some injuries, but I didn't think they were significant based on what I learned on scene. I wasn't even sure at the time if he went to the hospital.
And he said that Mr. Proctor was the one who went to the hospital. What hospital did? And did you have any investigators going to bring him to the hospital to speak with
Yeah, I have my partners, Detective A.B. Calhoun and Detective Tracy Lewis. They would go down there and try to see if they could give me some feedback on what kind of injuries I was dealing with. I was really concerned about the brother that was shot in the back.
They said the brother. When you say the brother,
I'm sorry, Frederick Proctor.
and did you interview him while you
Yeah, I did.
Who did you interview while you don't want to see that?
This young man by the name of Flores, and I interviewed the actual officer that discharged as well.
Did you interview anyone else?
I actually I didn't really interview, but I actually there was a young man by the name of Skateboard.
Did you remember his name? Did you ever learn his actual name?
Brian Taylor Ransom is what I found out his name was.
When you met with Investigator Wilson, do you remember where you actually met with him?
So because this was a major scene, they pulled out all the stops. They brought out what's called the mobile command vehicle. This is an air-conditioned camper where they put the officer that's been involved in the shooting away from everyone. And when I walked into the camper, this mobile crime unit, he's in there with his lawyer. So I was, his union lawyer, the officer.
And was he able to provide you information that assisted or helped you with their efforts?
He gave me some understanding as to why he discharged his weapon. We agreed on scene that he would come back the next day with his attorney with a formal statement at the homicide office.
And after speaking with Investigator Wilson, did you determine if there was an underlying crime that you need to investigate, and was it determined if he was justified in firing to the weapon?
There was a shooting that prompted Detective Robertson to discharge his weapon, as he told me. At that time, it was only an aggravated assault type investigation. We didn't know what else it may entail, but he responded to gunfire on a citizen.
You said you spoke with someone named Flores. The name is more around Flores now.
That sounds correct.
How are you first made aware of these?
Sergeant Leanne Lacoste told me that.
That was Mr. Steele.
Oh,
I'll sustain the objection.
Let me ask you this: were you just made aware that he had witnesses?
Yes.
And was he one of them?
Yes.
When you were first made aware of Mr. Flores, how long had you been on scene?
I've probably been out there about 15, maybe 20 minutes because I was walking around each scene. That's an estimate from 10 years ago.
To your knowledge, did any other officers speak with him prior to you speaking?
Somebody did, but I don't remember the name.
Whoever spoke with him, you know they that first interview, that first interaction.
I didn't know any recordings with him other than what I did.
And when you interviewed him, was that your first time speaking with him?
Yes.
Do you recall where on scene that you interviewed him?
I interviewed Flores at the 126 Cleveland Coin Laundry, right on the hill overlooking all the mayhem down there at the bottom with the car crash.
You may, as long as you've shown that to the defense counsel.
Yes, I am. I'm showing you Mr. Marcus Stacy to the 159.
If you can take a look at the 159C and tell me if you recognize that area that the papers is for.
This looks pretty much like the Cleveland, 126 Cleveland Avenue location where the laundry was.
And in that picture, you see the area where you were.
Yes.
And would that picture help you describe territory where you actually had your conversation with Mr. Allen?
So I'm between this white utility box in the picture and the driveway in that area.
So
Looking.
So
Oh yeah.
I'm
I'm sorry.
I'm saying like and this is the 159.
Any objection to states 159, Charlie? All right, hearing no objection, court will admit 159, Charlie, and be published as you see fit.
Thank you.
You know, I'm probably have to go back to the stick. That confused me. I mean, where's the stick? Yes.
Now, you go ahead and discuss your where you were when you had that conversation with Mr. Allen.
I'm in this area right around here where this cracked sidewalk is and this utility box.
And when you met with him, did he approach you or did you approach him?
He approached me. He came up to that scene. I mean, everything was cordoned off. Some kind of way he got into the scene. Someone had to have escorted him because you couldn't just walk in. Everything was wrapped up. You couldn't do nothing on Cleveland in 75 that day.
Was your interview? Did you record your interview with him?
I did.
And how did you record him?
My digital recorder.
And where did you keep your digital recorder?
Keep my digital recorder right here in my lapel pocket. And that's what I've always done.
And do you generally record all your interviews in a pocket?
Yes, for the most part, yes.
Then why do you record your interviews?
Well, a couple of different reasons. I want to have all the information that's coming to me on that scene so I can come back to it and reference it as I continue my investigation. I'm just big on taping things. There are times when I'll actually take a verbal and write notes. Everything's not recorded, but in this case, his interview was recorded.
What was the video like?
He was concerned about his vehicle that he had received from someone else.
In the course of your time as an investigator, have you ever had a case
As an investigator, have you ever had the occasion to interview anyone who was under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
I mean, throughout my career, almost every day.
Did Mr. Nava-Flores appear to be under the influence of any drugs or alcohol when you met with him?
Not at all. He was clean.
Did his eyes appear to be glossy as if he was high or anything like that?
I didn't see it.
Was he able to speak with you coherently?
Clean as a bell.
When you first met with Nava-Flores, were you aware if he had given a different version of his involvement in the case to another officer?
I did hear that.
And based on your interview with him, did he advise you what he told that initial officer?
Yes.
Did he then advise you that the version he was telling you was now in fact what he had actually?
I suppose I sustain the objection.
Your Honor, this time I'm impeaching Mr. Nava-Flores from what his testimony.
You have the witness on the record.
Was he able to tell you about what happened on September 11, 2013?
He was.
Was he able to tell you why he was over at Cleveland Avenue?
Yes, ma'am, he was.
Was he able to tell you who he came with on Cleveland Avenue?
Yes, ma'am, he did.
Was he able to tell you why he was in the Cleveland Avenue area?
He did.
Was he able to tell you whose car he was in?
He also told me that.
What about what car, who he gave the car to?
Yes.
Was he able to tell you if other people entered the car that he had given to someone else?
He did.
And was this entire interview captured on that audio recording?
Absolutely.
And have you had the opportunity to listen to this audio recording in preparation for your testimony here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Permission to approach, Your Honor.
You've shown that to the defense counsel already.
They received it, Your Honor. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 160C. Tell me if you recognize State's Exhibit 160C.
This is the Eduardo Nava Flores interview. Even got my initials on there.
And and have you had the opportunity to listen to that interview again in preparation for today?
I have.
And did that appear to be the full interview that you had with Mr. Nava Flores back on September 11, 2013?
That's it.
Your Honor, this time of state like the tender State's Exhibit 160C into evidence.
Any objection, states 160, Charlie. All right, hearing no objection, 160C is admitted, and it may be published as you see fit.
Thank you, Your Honor. 160C. You're welcome.
This is Detective D. Quinn. The date is the 11th day of September 2013. I'm currently
That's
at the
Detective Quinn.
intersection of Macon Drive at Cleveland Avenue. For the record, sir, what is your full name?
My name is Eduardo Flores Nava.
All right, Mr. Flores Nava, give me your date of birth, please.
It's February 2nd, 1990.
Okay. Now, we've been working a crime scene over here involving an officer-involved shooting. You just walked up minutes ago. Explain to me why you walked up here.
The reason I walked up here was because I had word that my girlfriend's car that I had borrowed this morning, might be down here in the street.
All right. We're looking over the ridge here. There's a wrecker that's loading a car on. Is that Nissan Altima, burgundy in color, the car that your girlfriend allowed you to use today?
That is the car.
All right. Can you tell me anything about the car? Anything specific on how it may have arrived up here?
The only way I can think of is that we were...
Who'd you give your car to? That's all I want to know.
I did not give the car personally to anybody.
Okay, well, who did you allow to get your car?
Brian, my friend. He's the one that pointed me this direction. He's the one that had pretty much me here thinking that I was just going to grab...
Okay, listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying. Brian has told us that some guy asked to borrow the car. You let him borrow the car. If we keep going around this circle, we're going to have a long night. Let's have a short night. I'd like to go home and get a cold Peroni later on after this is all over. So tell me and describe the person. If it's true, you lent the car to. Right. That's all I want, so we can let you go. I don't want to interrogate you and do the hot lamps and all that shit.
Right.
Let's get it done now, brother.
Right. I got pointed this direction. I was lost. I actually do not know any of these streets' names whatsoever.
I buy that.
Right. And he was pointing me directions. I trusted him with the car. He said, "Can I borrow your car?" Yeah. I let him borrow the car. Brian.
You let Brian borrow. Where are you when you let Brian borrow your car?
I just exited the door at what direction that the officer just...
Now, Sergeant Swartz just took you down to 2233 Macon Drive. Is that where you were when your car disappeared?
That's where I was when I was disappeared. I was in the car.
Who did you give the keys to?
Brian.
Gave them to Brian. Do you know who Brian gave the keys to?
Brian handed them over. 4 people got in the car like this.
Who's the guy you saw Brian give them to?
I don't remember, sir.
Can you describe him?
Scattered. If it was any of the guys that I just described, it was the guy with the white t-shirt and the short hair.
Was it short hair?
It was short hair.
Shorter than mine or short as mine?
It was probably as short as yours.
Okay.
And if
anything, what do you do now after the car's been lent out?
I think.
Who asked to get the car?
Brian. Okay. And he turned around to me and he says, "It's cool.
It's cool to let this guy borrow the car." Did you know where he was going with the car?
No, but whenever 4 black people jump in my car in the middle of Atlanta where I don't know where I'm at, I don't think.
So how many black people got in your car initially?
There was 4.
You saw 4 get in your car?
Yes, there was 4.
And they were all males?
They were all males.
Okay, 4 black males. And you've described.
And now at this point, whenever they're in my car, I'm not trying to say nothing. I'm not, because there's still some people at the house. I don't know where I'm at. Obviously, this guy knows his cat, and he's doing him a favor because he said he just needs a favor. He needs to go down to the store, do something.
Do you know the guy he lent the car to? Have you ever been around him before?
Never.
Okay, all right. Anything else anything else in that first statement that you'd like to clear up now that we're here?
Yes,
anything else?
That the gas station was just somewhere where he was looping me around, saying that we might find it.
So you never went in a gas station?
Never went in a gas
station.
station.
You only went to 2233 Macon.
Right. After that, from the gas station, he pointed me to 22 Macon, pulled up, got out of the car. He started talking to him. I kept myself because I don't know these cats.
Did you see any firearms at all during this exchange of the vehicle?
I did not. If I would have seen some firearms, I would have told them from those 20 minutes that we sat there waiting for the car to get back, I would have told them, look, fuck that. Why is there cops rolling by this house now?
Okay.
It wasn't but 3 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes after that the cops were just barreling down that road.
Gotcha.
And the guys that were there didn't say nothing, but they had this look in their eye like, you know, and we looked at each other, and to me it was just like a feeling.
So what prompted you to leave to come up here to Old Hakeville?
Someone rolled by and said, "What the fuck happened? Something just happened. They got the whole road blocked off." And then they started honking at them. They left, and I said, "What?" And then they started calling. It was like, "Hold on, we don't know about this. We don't know about this." And they just said, like, "Yo, we have no idea if it's even our people or what."
Okay, you came up to investigate. You see your girlfriend's car that was just
right. I was walking and I couldn't find my way all the way up here because every cop that I saw, the only way I could find it is follow cop lights. Okay, and that's how I got here.
I just want your buddy.
Right. And since I was here, the only reason I was saying that is because he said that we went to the gas station, and I'm like, look, I don't want you to get your buddies in trouble, or I don't know what kind of connection you got down here. I'm gonna tell them that we were at the gas station. This is what happened. Do that.
All right. But you. This is the absolute truth. This second interview, right?
Second interview is
okay. We're done, man. It's that simple. All right. Ending time is 2:32 in the PM, 9/11/2013.
And was that the entirety of your interview with Mr. And I said Nava Flores incorrectly, Mr. Flores Nava?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
And after this interview with Mr. Flora Naves, did you have any additional interviews with him?
I did not.
And was this your only recorded interview with him?
Absolutely.
At any point, have you ever erased any part of this interview regarding Mr. Flores Nava?
Not at all.
Now, I want to go back to State's Exhibit 159C. Oh, sorry, 158.
58.
Looking at State's Exhibit 158C, do you see roughly the area or Macon Drive on this particular map?
Hold on. I live in this area up here.
Okay. And roughly, not that you knew exactly where he walked from, but is that roughly that area of Macon Drive where 2233 or 2233 Macon Drive was, roughly over in that Macon Drive area?
Yeah, give or take. I mean, it's probably a block or two down from where you got the blue dots.
Okay. Block or two, which
well, not a block or two. I guess headed towards, was that Mel Burton's? Where is it? Would have been maybe in the middle of the road down there.
Hold on 1 second. Let me wait for this bar. If you could show us again roughly where.
I would say in this area here somewhere.
Okay. And on the same day, on September 11, 2013, did you also have the occasion to interview Brian Ransom?
I did.
And was he able to provide you information that assisted with your investigation?
He was able to, yes.
Now, looking at after speaking with Mr. Nava Flores, Flora Nava, did you ever go to 2233 Macon Drive?
Yeah, I wanted to go there and see, get a feel for what he was talking about, where he came from.
And while you were down there, did you see or speak with anyone?
I did.
Who did you speak with?
Miss Courtney Bain.
And to your knowledge, who was Courtney Bean?
She told me, well, she was the wife of Adrian Bean.
And what, if anything, did you say to her about the investigation that you were currently working?
I was working a police shooting, and I had some questions about her husband's involvement.
Okay. Now, on September 11, 2013, did you canvass the area?
I did.
And what does it mean to canvass the area?
But, I had a lot of things going on. So I've got Velasquez doing the crime scene in 2745 on Hayville. I've got Summer Benton, she's down there grinding at the scene at the laundromat. I got people at the hospital. What I wanted to do next was to get and knock on the doors of the people that actually live at the complex where the police shooting originated. And so it was during the afternoon hours. You strike out during those times of day a lot of time. I still want to knock on those doors to make sure someone didn't hear or see something I could use in this investigation.
And after canvassing the area, did you get any information that assisted you with your investigation?
It was sparse. I mean, I knocked on like 18 doors that were in close proximity to where Velasquez had been working his scene. People heard shots. People heard what they believed to be pops, things of that nature. That was good for my pad, my notepad, to know what I was dealing with. But I had no clear-cut witnesses that saw anything pertinent to the shooting.
Now, after canvassing the area and speaking to witnesses, did you inspect any of the vehicles that were involved in the shooting?
I did a visual inspection of that burgundy Nissan that was rammed into the laundromat.
Okay. And did you see anything of note or of evidentiary value within those vehicles? Within that vehicle, excuse me.
Yeah, this burgundy Nissan that crashed into the laundromat. Because I got a detective on it, I was doing a quick peek. I saw a firearm in the front passenger floorboard area. I saw 2 more automatic firearms in the back seat right behind the driver and the floorboard. It was bloody cash on the ground, significant damage to the front of the vehicle. And so at that point, I was going to rely on my detective, Benton in this case, just to kind of give a deep dive into that scene, and she would get back to me.
Outside of seeing the gun in the passenger seat and the 2 guns in the back seat, did you notice any other ballistic evidence in the car?
Well, I saw what I believed to be a hole in the headrest of the front seat passenger. Now, I don't know if it was old or new, but there was a corresponding busted out vent window on the rear passenger. So my experience is telling me a bullet probably came through here and went through that headrest.
And
I'm sorry, that was it.
And at that time, did you do anything to determine whether or not there was a path at that time on September 11, 2013?
Not at that time. I just need this detective to work that scene for me. I was going to, in my mind, go back in a controlled environment and probably rod out the hole. When I say rod out the hole, I was going to take something that looks just like this, stick it through the hole and see if it corresponds with that busted vent window in the back rear passenger side, and then take a picture of it. I was going to do that later.
Let me ask you this. When you canvassed the area, you talked about people who noticed or heard some things. Did you take those people's names down and notate that for your records?
Yeah, I put their names down. The ones that answered the door, they gave me their names just to show that I was there. Jotted down some notes of what they may have seen or heard. Heard, because I had no eyewitnesses.
And let me ask you this. During your investigation, did any patrol officers, detectives, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, anyone from Zone 3 or any other department ever advise you of any surveillance footage from the laundromat that had any evidentiary value?
No.
During your investigation, did Detective Summer Benton, who you assigned to process 126 Cleveland Avenue, ever advise you that a patrol officer, detective, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, or any major from Zone 3 or any other department gave her any information about surveillance footage from the laundromat that had any evidentiary value?
No.
Now, after going to the scene and interviewing individuals at the scene, did you ever interview anyone else not at the scene?
Yes.
Who?
Derek Dotson.
Where did you interview Derek Dodson?
I did it at the homicide office that same day.
And what was his demeanor when you interviewed him?
He was lucid. He was clear. He gave me information about what happened to him.
Was he able to tell you, and don't tell me what he said, but was he able to tell you if money was taken from him?
Yes.
You're right, I'm asking if he was able to tell him that, not what he said.
I'm over with the objection on both grounds, Mr. Steele and Mr. Sharp. You may answer the question, Detective.
Was he able, not what he said, but was he able to provide that information?
Yes, he was.
When you interviewed Derek Dodson, to your knowledge, did Detective A.B. Calhoun observe that interview?
Yes, he did.
With Detective Calhoun, to your knowledge, was he responsible with inventorying that money that you said was found on the ground outside of that red car?
He was.
Okay. And after you spoke with Derek Dodson, was Investigator Calhoun able to tell you how much money he inventoried?
Yes.
How much money did he inventory?
$970 cash.
And your Honor, Detective Calhoun did testify previously. Okay. Now, during the course of your investigation, did you have Detective Velasquez assist you in interviewing a Detective A.C. Booger Higgins?
I did.
And as a part of your investigation, did you learn a description, was A.C. Booger Higgins able to give you a description of, let me back that up. What was your understanding of A.C. Booger Higgins' role in this investigation?
Her role was, she was in the car occupied by Detective Roberson L., who was a front seat passenger, and another detective by the name of Pope.
Yes, Mr. Steele.
Like 5 defendants. 6 defendants. Y'all mute again, they side the sidebar. At the sidebar. They got us on mute. I hope y'all having a blessed day today. A beautiful day. The sun is out up here at 50 degrees. If anybody getting ready for Easter, he died on the cross. He died on the cross and arose on the third day.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a comfort break? Let's take about 10 minutes, and Detective Quinn will go and let you take a comfort break as well. Don't discuss testimony anybody except the attorneys in this case. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you back in 10 minutes. All right.
All right, they taking a break for 10 minutes. For a conference break. Did I in recess? 10 minutes. So they are on break for 10 minutes. So I could talk about it's ain't about how we look, how we dress, what new outfit we got. It's all about Jesus dying on that cross and arose on the third day. I know on Easter Sunday, I know that the church gonna be filled up, showing their outfits and their shoes and stuff, but that ain't what it's about. It's about Jesus dying on that cross and rose on the third day for our sin. Not his, but for our sin. See, we was already sinners when we came into this world. And he a forgiving God. But we can't ask God for forgiveness and we keep doing the same thing over and over again. I had to realize that. My great nephew, Jacob, his birthday is tomorrow. And he graduates in May. He's an Aries. So they on break for 10 minutes. About less than 10 now. Then we're going to get back into the court proceeding. I know a lot of people don't like to watch stuff like that or look at stuff like that. Even though we know it's happening every day with kids, babies, adults. I don't watch news like that, but when God put in my heart that it's important to watch it, I will. Like, shout out to Sister Anita because she started watching the Rico Young Thug. She was over there. I ain't gonna say the creator name over there. And he was disrespectful because he didn't want her to speak her opinion about the situation. And it was rude, so I ain't been back over there neither because he was rude to Sister Anita. Just because she know a little bit and he wanted to know it all. And I started getting into it after Sister Anita. Because both was in that same chat when the content creator disrespected her. So shout out to Sister Anita. Now look, no, I ain't gonna say look great nephews, but nephews will be coming out of school less than 4 minutes. When they come in, I'm gonna put y'all on mute so their mouth won't be on my live. Yeah, they'll be 3:10 when they come back. And 6 more minutes. Tell the world that I am blessed. I am blessed. Yes. Hallelujah. 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 Tell the world that I am blessed. I am blessed. Yes. You can bless in me when I look what you are from me. You can bless in me. I can tell the world. Tell the world that I am blessed. I am blessed. Yes. I am blessed. I am blessed. I am blessed. I am blessed. Hallelujah. 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 Thank you, Jesus. Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I am blessed. And Jesus. I am blessed. I am blessed. Hallelujah. 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 Thank you, Jesus. 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 Jesus. I am blessed. Tell the world. Tell the world. Tell the world. I am blessed.
What up, Crit Mac? Oh,
You okay though? How was school? Good. I'm gonna put that on pause right now until you can talk. Little Bunny for food. What about that? What about a bunny? Let's see what he's talking about. We call it the bean. Cocoa level. Cocoa Bean is running scared. Jacob is running over level. I think he's cool. I have rarely seen such smooth and self-assured cop in the dock. I pray the jury are really watching the judge and the state. Miss Lil have been tough. No lie, she always shaking her head. Lil needs to wash and rinse. Or we could call it tick, but somehow amazing tick in more sense than being. The tick is the definition of fake want to be. Coco, they not in Atlanta do us in. Miss kind of fly. She still need to have several seats. She be wrong and strong all the time. She's mad annoying. Just can't stand her. Jason Hood, you read my mind. He definitely got coach who remembers four total stranger by their full names. Hold on now, Coco.
Yes, sir.
This mess is longer. The OJ trial. Call the jury, judge. You ain't that busy. Just to get y'all nowhere, Coco, free little Jeff, definitely familiar strip. I agree with that. Mr. Justin, Flex J, he's a whole database. Running the drinking rush. OJ trial took half a decade. Everyone stand up. Most in here, not even from the city. Mr. Queen got notes at the stand. He's
Thank
not
you,
gonna
Rhonda.
recall on calls being done.
Detective Quinn, when we left off, we were getting ready to speak about Detective Booker Higgins, but before I do that, I'm going to show you what's already been admitted as Exhibit 108C. When we reference Derek Dodson, that's the individual that you met with at the homicide unit.
Yes,
Well, minus the black string across his face.
I recognize him.
Just okay. Now going back to Detective Booker Higgins, what was your understanding of her involvement in this case?
She was on scene at the time when Detective Rosenthal discharged his firearm.
Right. And when you had Detective Velasquez speak with Booker Higgins, did she provide a description of a driver of the vehicle that was involved in this incident?
She did, yes.
Okay. And what was the description that was given
She gave a description.
Yep. Your Honor, Detective Booker Higgins has already testified, so it's not here.
Said it was a
What was the?
said it was a female driver.
And did that female driver have any particular hair color?
And she said pink. I'm not really sure. I can't remember exactly. But
Now, at this point in your investigation, were you now looking for a woman as a part of this underlying assault that you were investigating?
absolutely.
Okay. Now, during the course of your investigation, did you also have the occasion to interview a Leonard Pass?
I did.
And was he able to give you information that assisted with your investigation?
He did.
Now, permission to approach? Yes. And I believe I sent them to them previously.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what the mark says in 111 and 112C. Do you recognize Exhibit 111 and 112C?
I do.
And how do you recognize Exhibit 111 and 112C?
That's the area that I had a photograph. I had a crime scene tech come out and take pictures. That's my left hand pointing to a little dot on the ground there.
Is that a fair accurate depiction of the image or the area that you had a crime scene tech take a picture of back in September 2013?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, this time to say like Exhibit 110 and 111 is happening. I mean, and 112, I'm sorry. Excuse me, 111 and 112 is happening. No, and it's 111 and 112, Your Honor, my apologies. Yes. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to actually first start with what has already been admitted as Exhibit 110C. Looking at Exhibit 110C, do you recognize what's in Exhibit 110C?
Yeah, that's Somerdale Commons.
Okay. And now looking at Exhibit 111C. And looking at 112C. Is that your hand that you were just referencing that's pointing at something in the ground?
That's me.
What exactly were you pointing at?
That was what was believed to be impact from a projectile from a gun. Boom.
Now, during the course of your investigation, did you ever attempt to speak with yourself, either Frederick Prothero and Walter Murphy?
Yes.
And were you able to speak with them?
No.
During the course of your investigation, did you ever meet with the owner of the red car that was used in armed robbery?
Yes.
And if you can recall, about when in your investigation did you meet with her?
I know it was a couple of weeks after, I'm gonna say the latter part of September 24th or 25th, maybe.
And I said her, do you recall what her name was?
Maricela Cisneros.
And was she able to tell you information about her vehicle? Was she able to give you information about her vehicle, specifically who she had let borrow her car?
She was.
Now, during the course of your investigation, I think you talked about earlier going to do the rotting of the vehicle.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever actually do that with the car?
I did.
And when did you do that? Do you recall?
I don't remember the date. I know it was within the week. I had the car sent to what's called the homicide cage, a protected area we put vehicles in for further processing. My goal was to understand that hole in that passenger side front seat headrest.
Did you, when you processed the vehicle, did you, or did the rotting in the vehicle, did you find any shell casings within that vehicle?
I did not.
Mr. Steve? And understanding what you knew at the time that you processed your vehicle, was that a surprise for you that you did not find any shell casings inside?
I mean, it wasn't a surprise. I mean, shell casings are fickle. You don't know where they're gonna go. You don't always find them.
In a moment, I'll be showing some pictures that I've already shown the defense counsel, but I'm re-showing to them again. Commissioner Pochon, I'm going to show you the articles showing the defense counsel 161 through 174. You should take a moment and look through 161 through 174.
Okay, I'm going.
I'm looking at 161C through 174C. Do you recognize those pictures?
Yeah, that's that burgundy Nissan Altima that was in the homicide cage that I wanted to get those rods through.
And are those pictures of the vehicle at the homicide cage?
Yes, ma'am.
And do those pictures appear to be a fair, accurate depiction of the car at the homicide cage when you went to process or do the rod out of that vehicle?
Yes.
Your Honor, this time the state would like to send Exhibit 161C through 174C into evidence. Thank you, Your Honor.
The chat is acting up. That's the Nissan that Aaron Bruto was driving.
Looking at Exhibit 161C, if you can just orient the jury as to what we're looking at in Exhibit 161C.
This is just a front view of the car that made impact with 126 Cleveland Coin Laundry.
And let me ask you this. How does the car get from the coin laundry to the homicide gauge?
A record, a city contracted record service.
And is that the record that you were referencing or talking about when we listened to the Nava Flores interview when you asked them? Is that the red car on the record right there?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
All right. Now, going to 162C. Is that here just to be another angle of the vehicle inside the home? What's in State Exhibit 162C?
It's just a front end view of where that vehicle made impact with the laundromat.
All right. 163?
That's the rear trunk compartment of the same vehicle and a rear view.
And looking at 163C, is the top of the trunk on the car? The actual roof of the trunk?
I don't see where it is. I'm not saying it. Looks like it's just off.
Looking at Exhibit 164C, what are the jurors looking at 164C?
This is that area of concern for me. Again, I'm investigating the actions of a police officer using deadly force. That's what my mind is. That vent window, the rear passenger view is what I'm concerned with, how it may correspond with that headrest of that front seat. I got a man shot in the back. I got to explain that.
And looking at Exhibit 165C.
That's a closer view of that same rear passenger vent window. You can also see the airbag deployed from the driver's side.
166C.
That's another view. We're getting closer. You can see that defect to the right side of that headrest. That's my area of concern. That's a through and through hole, and that was of paramount concern to me at the time.
Now look at 167C.
That's going to be the rear passenger compartment of that burgundy Nissan owned by Mrs. Cisneros. You can see blood transfer. There's some items on the floor.
Now, at the time, did you request for any testing or anything to be done with the blood that was in the backseat of that vehicle?
Not the blood, no.
Why not?
I didn't think it was. I mean, I knew I had a shot person in the backseat, so I wasn't going to send off to the GBI and make sure that was blood. I mean, they don't. Yeah.
All right. 168C. What are we looking at 168C?
Well, this is a very rudimentary, not very scientific. It's just a brother taking the stick. That's all I did, and running it through that hole because I'm trying to tell this story. I'm working this deadly force case. I want to make sure that was going to be a path of a possible bullet fired by the Atlanta police.
And at the time when you're doing this, did you have information of the officer shooting into or in the direction of the vehicle?
Based off his statement, the way he broke it down, I had a pretty good idea exactly what happened.
Looking at Exhibit 169C. What are we looking at Exhibit 169C?
This is going to be an interior view of the same information. Those rods, I've actually got them now going through, showing the trajectory, which corresponds with the wound that the 6'8" Mr. Frederick Prothero had to his back. Thank God the brother was 6'8". or it would have been in his head.
And outside of that bullet hole in the vehicle, did you notice any other bullet holes within the vehicle?
I did not.
Okay. Looking at Stacy Exhibit 170C.
It's another closer view showing the trajectory. That hole where it originates at the rear of that headdress, it's actually coming through. And I believe that is the wound that Mr. Frederick Prothrow received from the Atlanta police.
Looking at Stacy Exhibit 171C, is that just another close up?
That's just another percent.
Okay. 172.
It's a closer view of the rod actually coming through the headdress.
And 173. And again, 174.
173 is also the very same thing. 74 is that's me actually holding it. Very unscientific, but just trying to tell a story.
Now, you talked about not finding any shell casings. I want to go back to Stacy Exhibit 167C for a moment. Now, when you were at the homicide cage, were you able to observe this vehicle in this condition as it is in this picture?
Yes.
Okay. How tall are you?
6'1".
Looking at that photo and your personal observation of looking at that vehicle, are you able to fit in the backseat of that car?
Yeah, I'm being crunched, but I'll be back there.
All right. Now, when you got to the homicide cage, was this the condition that you found that vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know, or to your knowledge, were there items in the car prior to you seeing it at the homicide cage?
On the 126 Cleveland Avenue address, there were 3 firearms that were of particular concern to me, which I had.
There's a lot on this.
Some of that to collect.
Do you recall?
Jeffery Williams' side. Most of them won't thug out.
Excuse me, nothing. Defense Exhibit JW 158, 59, 160, I believe it's through 169. Sure.
They ain't say nothing when Broom was lying on the stand though. They ain't saying nothing about that. Being is running scared, the streets will start talking. That's why he take his story ain't making sense. That's why he was recounting his story different from what he told the detectives. Bro is guilty. Right. Bro is guilty.
Show you in this I need the JW Exhibit 157.
Hey, telling you, that's right, John. Young Thug, it's in his name.
Ron seemed like on September 11th.
I don't remember seeing him. I mean, and I wasn't looking for him. Honestly, I mean, I delegated that out. Had a lot going on. Those guns were important.
The Young Thug didn't do nothing. He wasn't been running.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do it all. You got to depend on the people you work with to actually, execute what you needed to do.
That's why he said he didn't want to testify.
Help, like anybody else.
So I want to look at 157. Looking at Stacey Bibb on 157, can you describe for the jury how that toolbox is positioned?
So when I asked about the toolbox, now you're saying the toolbox.
It looks like the front end of it is on the seat, and then it's propped up against the back of the back seat. It's like the driver's side back seat.
And is the blood underneath the toolbox?
Yeah, I see some transfer of what appears to be blood, yeah.
And to your knowledge, do you have any idea how the items got on the seat, or those items are actually in the toolbox prior to this picture being taken?
I don't know anything about that.
Okay. That's it. Thank you so much. Items such as that, would you have had those processed or taken to the GBI crime lab to be processed?
I wouldn't.
Why not?
I didn't feel they had anything to do with the case I was investigating, which paramount concern is the officers' use of deadly force. I had a good idea of what happened in that scene. We don't just send arbitrary items to the GBI for testing. That's a call I made. They blamed me, but I didn't think they were relevant.
Now, before we move on to the next scene, what you testified.
There's a lot of lawyers up in this chat that ain't even lawyers.
When did this incident occur?
9/11/2013.
You're gonna be hot because they ain't getting no DNA out of it.
Investigation. Did you get jail calls in this case?
I did.
Tell the jury a little bit about what are jail calls.
Jail calls are information stored on some server at the jail for anyone incarcerated that makes phone calls.
And how does an individual who's incarcerated make those jail calls? Do they have a PIN number? What's the process?
I don't know how they make the call, but I know how we can listen to them as law enforcement.
Okay. How do you all listen to them as law enforcement?
So there's an app that they gave us access to, and I say they, I'm talking about the police department, the Atlanta police. At that time, you could actually punch in and listen to people in real time almost.
He should have ran behind him.
Far advanced, you could listen
then he wouldn't have got caught.
Specific conversations based off the name of the inmate.
And when you listen to those calls, do you know if they are in an area called booking or if they're in general population? Are you able to determine that from the phone calls?
I can't determine from where I sit. As I recall 10 years ago.
No, he's not an expert for jail calls. That's facts.
Have you had the occasion to have a list of calls that individuals made when they first get into the jail?
Yes.
And then listening to more calls once they've been in jail and maybe have gone to the general population?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in this case, when did you pull jail calls in this case? For what date range?
Well, I wanted 9/11. That's the first significant data that sticks out that I wanted to see if there were any calls.
At the time of 9/11, how many people out of the 3 that you said were detained were actually taken to the Fulton County Jail?
Just one.
Who was that?
Adrian Bean.
And did you pull the jail calls for Mr. Adrian Bean?
I did.
When did you actually start listening to the jail calls?
Several days. I think around the 16th. If I'm not mistaken.
Would you have put that date?
Yes.
We're looking at a copy of the case for help refresh your memory as to when you started listening.
Okay.
Okay, that yes?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 178C. Just flip through that and tell me you recognize State's Exhibit 178C.
Yeah, I recognize this as my supplementals.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of your supplementals regarding this case, the officer involved shooting?
Yes, ma'am.
And again, we're looking at a copy that helped refresh your memory as to the date in which you started listening to jail calls.
Okay.
And I'll specifically direct your attention to page 30 of 47. At the top and at the bottom, she might say 42.
Said 47.
30 of 47.
30 of 47.
And I apologize, it might be 32 of 47.
This one, for whatever reasons, out of order, went back to 20. Let's see, hold on. It might be me. Hold on. User error. I'm sorry. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah, 9/16/13.
And when you started listening to jail calls on 9/16/13, did you get calls that were in between these dates?
I don't remember. I don't remember that.
Would it be safe to say that any calls you would have heard would have had to happen before you listened to them?
Yeah, absolutely.
So roughly between 9/11. In preparation for this case today, have you had an opportunity to listen to some of those jail calls that you pulled back in September of 2013?
Yes, ma'am.
And listen to those calls. Are they a fair and accurate depiction of the calls that you pulled back in September of 2013?
Yes, ma'am.
And did there appear to be any additions or deletions to those calls that were made that you pulled back in September 2013?
No.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would like to show Detective Quinn Exhibit 175, which contains calls A through C. Your Honor, State's Exhibit 175A was already admitted yesterday. State's Exhibit 175 Charlie Alpha was already admitted yesterday, Your Honor. What is State's Exhibit 175 Charlie Bravo is actually a duplication of Defense Exhibit 205. So they've already been admitted. The other three calls, Your Honor, would be new exhibits, which would be State's Exhibits 175 Charlie Delta Echo. Yes, 175 Charlie Alpha through Echo.
Yeah, sure.
They were on the call on those that not there.
on to do, so I didn't know you were putting that in. So when he was in last week, it's prior to me knowing you were putting it in. So I had already labeled it.
Yes, sir. Probably not. It would be extra prosecutor to figure out which jail call could be more.
I did identify 2 of the 3 that are the newer calls that have not been admitted. I identified one, and I'll call it, for the purposes of this, the chicken call, because it stands out because she's talking about cooking fried chicken. The second call after that is a call where she's at the baseball game, and that's very identifiable. It is the third call that I advised that I will ask the court if we can take a brief break so I can just identify which call that is so that they can know. But I've identified that 2 of the 3 calls.
Share any objections to the baseball or chicken call? You have your feet right here? What do I need more time? Because you said that she's not. Okay, do you have any specific objections to those 2 calls? Not the third one. We're going to take a break on it. As I told you. I may not. But you're going to hopefully let you know. Follow word direction. Mr. Steele, please don't try to do the conversation. You're not prepared. Because if you're prepared, you would have told me. You invited this conversation. I did. I asked you if you were ready. If you were ready, you said, yes, Judge, I'm ready. Let's talk. Now, if you're not ready, then go ahead and tell me you're not ready, and we'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and we'll figure out something else to do. But if you're in the corruption. And race is already, you know, exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, brother, then we need to ask the jury, why we how long is this here for?
Right, and I will say for the third call, Your Honor, really as it relates to this particular incident, there's only 2 relevant areas from 00 to 1 minute, and then 3 minutes and 50 seconds to 6:40 are the only relevant parts, I believe, for this particular matter.
Even want all of the third call to be replayed. I tell you what, how long is it?
So all the calls, Mr. Steele is correct, all the calls are approximately 15 minutes, and the state does intend to play all 5 calls.
No, I'm talking about the third. I'm talking about the third call. But I need the court instructing, otherwise we would court instructing me to help the court. That's what I'm doing. When it comes up, yes, you instruct me to follow what you ask me. You're acting like I'm not, it's unfair. I tell you what, for 20 minutes be sufficient for you to review short. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's a good day to call, huh?
All us.
You don't. Come back, we'll just want to know a decision about the transcript, because we do have a transcript for the first call. And that was the one we gave to them yesterday, so just a decision about.
Well, I thought you were gonna take more time for that because.
They have not looked at it. Okay, never mind, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, okay. We're in recess about 20 minutes. In regards to what, sir? Okay, what's your motion?
This is the second time that this honorable court in front of the jury has addressed me inappropriately and wrongly. Second time. The first time I gave the state discovery of a song from a Super Bowl. Weeks before, there was an objection. You assumed that I didn't give it to the state. I didn't want to embarrass the court. So you were yelling at me and saying, do you understand me? Do you understand me? And instead of saying, do you understand that you're wrong? I sat here and I said, yes, Your Honor. That was to protect the integrity of this courtroom and the court. Now you say in front of the jury how unprepared I am. I am not unprepared for anything.
Okay,
I have no. I need to make a record. Your Honor,
Mr. Steele, wait a second. When you keep delaying, okay, and that's what's happening to the court. You keep delaying and elongating and pushing out these particular our ability to present a seamless case in front of the jury. That's my purview as a judge. And I've asked you a number of times, you and your colleagues on both sides, to go ahead and listen to whatever it is you need to do, prepare me as needed. Now, I asked you those 2 particular questions because if they turn over the audio to you in discovery and you've listened to them already, then you either have an objection or you don't have an objection. And I was trying to solicit from you whether or not we could just go ahead and just hear it. So you can imagine my frustration because all these little delays just elongate out our presentation in front of the jury. That's for your benefit, not for mine, Your Honor. So that's why I've told you all at various times during this particular case. It's not because I want to embarrass you, Mr. Steele. It's just that I'm trying to kind of keep this thing presented in a way that the jury can listen to it.
And the court is wrong. What happened was, let me finish, and I'm making this for the record. What happened is, and I don't get embarrassed by you, but I don't want to embarrass you. I made an objection that some of these jail calls have a third party who will not testify. I objected to hearsay. The state said it explains the effect.
Okay, which call?
These calls, as you.
Okay, well then why aren't we taking them up beforehand?
The state just said just now these are the 3 additional calls that they want to introduce.
All right. Well, then here's your response. I'm going to give you an acceptable response.
I'm going to make my motion. I need to make my motion.
Judge, there's more to this, and we need to listen to these calls.
Right.
Then I would have no, you didn't say that though. So I wouldn't have had that opportunity. But that's why I keep telling you this. Okay. I mean, like I told you, forewarned judge, a happy judge. All right. So had you just told me up front, Judge, we have not had the opportunity to listen to all of those calls. We've only been able to listen to 2. I want to listen to the other ones. And
I've listened to the calls. I know. I don't know what the third one they're trying to do.
Okay, well,
listen, let me just finish. So you presuppose I don't know what the calls are. Well, I don't know what the third call is because Ms. Hilton, who's professional, said, I'll take a break and I'll let you know what it is. But the other 2 calls are a baseball game and at the chicken, they're discussing chicken wings. Or chicken. I understand those calls. There's issues in those calls that you need to address. But I politely make an objection and say, Your Honor, based upon what you told me, which is what you told me, we'll take it up later. I wanted to raise it. You tell in front of the jury how unprepared I am. And let me tell you something. I am not unprepared. I don't appreciate the court telling me that. And you don't, and I asked you, tell the jurors that you were wrong when you admonished me last time. You said you wouldn't do that. This is the second time. And you know what it does to me? I don't care. I'm hurt because you're a court, but I really don't care. But what does it do to Mr. Williams?
Mr. Steele, I'm not trying to personally insult you or hurt your feelings, okay? You are a grown professional advocate. I'm a grown professional jurist. And people say things to me that border on the lines of I could take action or not. You have certainly said some of those things to me during the trial of this case. I have let them go. So, sir, that's just the trial. That's just the trial of the case. Okay,
no, but that man's life is here.
And you know you're doing a fine job of representing him. But you know what? That's just the way we are right now. But the crux of the issue is, Mr. Steele, and the representatives from the state and everybody else. What happens right now is I have to take a break in order to vet all of these issues, which I'm required to do, Mr. Steele. And that's what is kind of disappointing to me because I have given you all this administrative time, all these breaks to go ahead and do this. And this is what delays the presentation of this case in front of the jury.
You know, if I would have done what the state did and I'm not poking anything at Ms. Hilton, you would have said to me, why didn't you share those calls with him before? What, you were out all day today. We didn't start court till 1 o'clock. I would have shared them.
I know you would have.
But the state didn't. I'm not poking fun because I can deal with it. But the court then steps in.
But here's the problem. I have a problem with it because at the end of the day, I got to listen to a 15-minute call.
I don't have to listen to anything.
But
you have to make a ruling.
Yes, but I have to listen to it in order to make the ruling on those. And even if you said you've listened to the chicken call and the baseball call, and you say there's other issues that come into play, it's better for us to take those things up before I ask for that jury. And I could have done that this morning. I could have done that at another point in time. So, I mean,
I raised this issue to you, and I don't remember the date, but it was days ago. I raised it, and the court said, all right, understood. And we'll take that issue up when it comes. Now, what am I supposed to do? Sit there and say no objection?
No.
I say, Judge, it's an issue we need to take up.
Not at all.
And in addition to that, today alone, and this happens, today alone, the state introduced 2 exhibits. I've never been given them before, ever. You know what I did? No problem. No problem. Because I think that's professional. One was a Google map. It needs to be clarified for the record that it was not done on September 11, 2013. And then a map with little dots with 0.4 miles. I've never seen before. But I didn't do anything, Your Honor. I want to move the case. But when the court, it gives me no pleasure in saying this. I believe that this honorable court is biased against Mr. Williams and or his counsel. And I ask you to consider recusing yourself or don't do this again to me. This is inappropriate to me. I respect you, but what am I supposed to do? Sit there while you do this? I didn't do anything wrong. I did exactly what you teach me to do and the courts teach me to do.
All right.
But instead, no, I got to finish this.